Good morning, everyone. For Telesur, I'm Cody Weddle in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin this morning in New York City, where the United Nations General Assembly will meet on Tuesday to discuss the U.S. blockade on Cuba. It marks the 13th time that the over 150 countries that make up the assembly will vote on the issue. Last year, 188 countries opposed the blockade, with only the United States and Israel voting in favor of its continuation. The Cuban government released a report earlier in July showing the blockade has generated losses of over $116 billion. We have more precise figures to report from Sunday's elections in Uruguay. The Broad Front Party, the party of current President Jose Mujica, has obtained a slight majority in the parliament and in Congress. The Broad Front earned 50 seats, while other parties together obtained 49 of the seats. The Broad Front won a higher percentage than polls had projected. According to the Global Gender Gap report of 2014 released Monday, 3 Latin American countries are among the top 10 in the world with the highest percentage of women's representation in the legislative branch. Cuba ranked second best in the world, Nicaragua 7th, and Ecuador 8th regarding representation. In another index, the overall index into gender equality, which takes into account a range of factors, including access to health and education, Nicaragua is the best performer in Latin America and comes 6th in the world. Ecuador is among the top 5 countries that has seen the most improvement in recent years. Mexico's Attorney General has announced the arrest of 4 gang members thought to have colluded with local police in the disappearance of 43 students a month ago. The case of the disappeared students in Mexico has turned worldwide focus on institutional corruption and the role of popular protest in the country. Here's our correspondent, Clayton Kahn.
It has been a month since the 43 Ayotzinapa students were forcibly disappeared by police, and now teachers and professors express their solidarity with the families and classmates of the missing youth.
We are missing those 43 disappeared. We cannot continue without them in our classrooms, because the reason there are teachers is the students.
Expressions of widespread discontent and protest have consumed the country as citizens decry that the Ayotzinapa case is the tip of the iceberg of institutional corruption.
The population doesn't see the state doing its job, and thus has the right to energetically denounce those who should be doing things differently. There needs to be a change, and that is a primary demand of the people.
Meanwhile, Ayotzinapa students who survived the attack say that it is precisely this dissent and criticism of institutions that provokes state aggression.
Somos revoltosos, y somos rebeldes, y somos guerreros broncos.
We are agitators, rebels, and crazy warriors who understand how our country is. That it's rotten, and to speak the truth puts one at risk, deadly risk.
However, the teeth of popular revolt has bitten back, forcing the ouster of the Guerrero state governor and a sharp, watchful eye over the pending job of his successor. Clayton Kahn, Telesur, Mexico City.
And thanks to Clayton, as the world continues to battle Ebola, a number of Cuban medical brigades have deployed to West Africa. One group of Cuban doctors has been already in Sierra Leone for a number of years to promote preventative medicine. With the arrival of Ebola, they have shifted their focus to fighting the virus. Here's our correspondent, Oscar Epelde.
Caridad, Adolfo, Serafin, and Aldo are 4 Cuban medics who work in the McKinney Public Hospital in July when various nurses and anesthetics from the medical center started to contract Ebola.
Our decision was to stay here because I think that now is when the town really needs us.
Although we're not working directly with Ebola, but the symptoms of Ebola are very similar to other kinds of sicknesses we see here very frequently, like malaria or typhoid fever. But we're working well here. As you see, we are protecting ourselves, and the patients feel very content with us, as well as the work of other hospital staff.
A gynecologist, a surgeon, an internist, physician, and a woman's doctor. They work integrated in the public hospital with the mission of strengthening local capacities and promoting the formation of their Sierra Leone colleagues, as well as promoting a culture of prevention.
No diarrhea, no vomiting. Okay. You prescribe the Cranfuse? Yes.
The hospital has its own isolation unit for possible Ebola patients, a place where it's not possible to enter without PPE.
Our brigade has been in this country for 3 years. There is a good nexus of communication with colleagues responsible for treating this condition in the country. We keep working together closely to prevent the spread as much as possible, and to achieve this we work together with North Americans, the British and the rest of the world.
As our commander-in-chief says, it's our hour of duty, and we're willing to stay until it's the end of Ebola, and after the end of Ebola.
According to the brigade, it is important to promote disease prevention and investing efforts into improving primary health care.
And thanks to Oscar, the United States revealed Monday that it has spent over $500 million so far in the military operation targeting the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. The State Department also says that the terrorist group has obtained surface-to-air weaponry. Meanwhile, despite the bombing in Syria, the al-Qaeda-linked al-Nusra Front is making advances. The group is battling for the town of Idlib near the Turkish border. And now we go to Ukraine, where local media report a new army buildup in the city of Mariupol. It comes just days after the country held elections. Military truck caravans were spotted entering Mariupol near the city of Donetsk. Helicopters and military jets were also seen heading towards the city. In the town, rebels continue fighting for greater independence. Mariupol witnessed heavy fighting in August before a ceasefire agreement was reached between the government and rebel forces. There are now fears that the new buildup could jeopardize this ceasefire. Rebel leaders have warned they will respond to any attack. And in the United States, a new book to be released Tuesday claims that over 1,000 World War II Nazis worked for the CIA and the FBI during the Cold War. The research shows that high-ranking Nazi criminals were among those working with the agencies. They included SS officer Otto von Bolschwing, a top aide to Adolf Eichmann, who drew up the plans to build concentration camps at Auschwitz and elsewhere. The book also shows that the U.S. government tried to hide the evidence until recently. We go to sports now, where celebrations are being prepared to mark the 40th anniversary of the epic fight for the heavyweight championship between boxing legends George Foreman and Muhammad Ali. The fight, dubbed Rumble in the Jungle, took place in the Democratic Republic of Congo. It was won against all expectation by Ali. The crown holder Foreman was exhausted by Ali's moves. Marking the anniversary, Foreman praised Muhammad Ali, recalling his surprise at Ali's youth and power.
C'était un chaos technique et non pas un chaos. Allons, monsieur. Papillon épique comme une abeille. Ali, renversant tous les pronostics, n'est pas surpris.
Plenty more on those stories and others at our website, telesurtv.net/English. For Telesur English, I'm Cody Weddle. Have a great day.